you think about this product, and go check out the free demos that we have online. We have several free lessons that you can explore. And I want to thank you so much for taking time out to bear with me through this, and that concludes my presentation.
Questions? Yes. Yep, you. We're already up here, so go ahead.
Now, when you give them a suggestion, what is it supposed to correlate with the suggestion? So you said he was from the UK, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, what is it supposed to do with? Is it supposed to be a barrier between languages then?
Well, for that particular demo, I'm trying to get the user to think inside of the voice of the character. So it's using a little bit of creative writing to kind of just jog your imagination, you know, make you think outside of the box. For a preteen or a teenager that's using it, it's just to kind of have a productive tool to use to explore technology in a more productive way than, say, wasting away on Facebook for hours on end. This will be a way that they can learn and continue to build on their communication skills. So we just throw different exercises their way. Chris?
Do you imagine this being able to be used in schools?
Absolutely. My first client actually...
Can you repeat the question?
Oh, he asked, do I see it being able to be used in schools? And I have an educational institution on board. Focus Hope is going to be using their software with the middle school and high school students that they serve in the Focus Hope community. So I'm super excited. I just did the training for that yesterday, and that went really well. So definitely opening the door for educational institutions. Any other questions?
Yes. What's the youngest age you see this being effective in terms of helping them with their writing skills?
I would probably say perhaps about 10 or so, but I'm still experimenting with different focus groups to see what the feasibilities are there.
How high? High school?
I would probably tap it out at about 15 or 16.
What's the difference between this and the website Extra Normal?
I'm not familiar with Extra Normal.
Extra Normal is like, we have a bunch of us geeks go on and you can create these fictional scenes and you can animate characters and make them jump and laugh, and there's a ton of stuff on YouTube and you can just create these weird characters. I think American Express has had some sort of commercial using Extra Normal. They're all these blocky characters and you can get them to do these really basic things, but they talk all in this monotone kind of thing. But you know, you create these little, what's kind of the difference between?
Well, to be honest, I'm not that familiar with that website. The goal of this is primarily to focus in on communication skills and an e-learning experience. I don't know what the goals of that site are, but ours are more educational focused. Yes.
And I have two questions. One is, does the response that this gentleman gave, is that processed in some way? And is there a response given relative to what he said, or is the goal just to respond in a creative way, giving you an outlet?
I'm doing the back-end programming to make it even more dynamic, where you put in certain types of responses and it triggers based on how interactive you were and how much of what you had to share matches in line with the assignment. So we're building the back end of that now.
I see. That's very interesting. And then the other question I had was, are you focusing on situations where the kids will be assigned to do this, or do you have ways to show that this is fun for kids who are not assigned to do this?
I'm targeting parents that want their kids to do something productive online at home. So I guess it's like a little bit of both. Perhaps mom will buy it for me, and maybe I'm not very excited at first, but maybe it'll grow on me. I keep learning lessons and I grow in that way, and there's some improvements there. So that's what I had in mind.
Dara, let me ask one question, then go back to you. Have you launched the business yet, and do you have any customers that are actually engaging with you using it?
I do. We have had over 500 people that have used the demos online, from Russia to China to the UK, so I'm excited about that. And that's with just a few pennies in my pocket for internet marketing purposes, primarily word of mouth. We have Focus Hope on board as a paying client, and building into hopefully having more soon. So that's exciting.
I also have a quick question. I didn't, if I heard you, did you have is a subscription model or what type of?
Yes. The way the pricing works is that each user buys an annual software subscription, which they can renew. And we have 3-month packages, 6-month packages, and 1-year packages.
That's my question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have a question. How about children who have like mild autism or other developmental challenge issues that might be a benefit? Are we looking into doing that at all, or do you see a benefit to that?
That's a great question. She asked about children that may have more special needs, and that's definitely something I would like to explore. If there are ways that we can perhaps tweak this to serve an even larger audience of students.
Great.
Okay, I'm in the back. I'll stand. I have a couple
Last
of
question.
Was that
This is the last question.
last question?
Yep.
Okay, then this is what I'll ask. Creative writing seems to be such a wide spectrum of things. So in the product that the student actually creates, is it more based in theater or poetry or song or covering techniques and things from those genres, or is it all of it, or what is the focus?
That's a great question. Our focus is primarily as an off-Broadway playwright. I have a love for the theater, so we go more into the theater, but there are other types of exercises that explore poetry and basic creative writing and also vocabulary building skills. Okay, thank you. I will.
V-Car?
While we're pulling up the next presentation, Akar Altencel is going to be up next. His first startup was actually Penguin Magic, and it's still active. It's the world's biggest magic trick retailer. I'd like to ask a few questions about that. That sounds pretty interesting. Tonight he's going to talk about Goosecast, and Goosecast is a simple, embeddable, live blogging app for bloggers and news websites. So I won't talk too much about it. I think we're about ready to learn from the person themselves. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, sorry, with internet I would have done a demonstration, but I'm going to do my best to walk through. My name is Ajar. I am one of the founders of Goosecast, and what we do is provide live blogging for websites. Is there a way to advance these? Great. So we call it Hunk and Simple live blogging. The idea is just that you can embed this. Oh, first of all, let me talk about what live blogging is. Live blogging is if you've ever been to a website while there was a presentation going on, and without having to refresh the page, without having to click reload or click anything, the updates would just fall in front of you one after another as they were happening. So the company would have a journalist or a series of journalists out in the field at the event, and they would be sending text messages, etc. So this is similar to sometimes people have a Twitter feed, for example. But the Twitter feed is limited to the sort of the filtering and the embeddability of these Twitter feeds is actually not ideal for a company who would want to limit who has access to posts in a feed. Most feeds are created by just following either hashtags or usernames. And so what we've created is a way that you can embed a live feed into your website where you control who can post. And then so your small team can attend an event such as this one, or the CES or car show, and there can be 5, 10, or 100 of you out there taking pictures, sending updates, and on your website you can have these being live updated so people can just sit there and watch. So Facebook is great for being social, but again, even though they're working on some of the real-time stuff, this is still really not there yet. And with something like Goosecast, you don't have to require that the people who come to your website have a Facebook account. So that's important for a lot of people. The blog, just a regular blog, will be fine, except people have to reload if they don't have a tool like this. Again, the key here is that this is real time. So you can take pictures with your iPhone or your Android phone, and you can also use the web interface with your laptop, and you can send real-time updates to the website. So ideal cases, again, would be like, say for example, there's a Pistons game, and the Pistons are sending updates to their website for the game, or U of M has a similar system. Okay, so how does it work? Basically, we have a three-part system. We have an iPhone and Android app that the journalists can have with them in the field, and then we have the server component. The server component runs everything. All you have to do is include a small iframe in your website, and without people having to go to a different website, right there they can see all of the updates happening. And so our revenue model is very simple. It's just a monthly subscription at this point. After we launch and after we get some experience selling just subscriptions, we're also going to branch out into sponsored pages on our website, because we will host all of these on our website as well if people don't want to embed them. It would work just like Twitter, where you could go to somebody's Twitter page, but you could host an actual chat at our page. In fact, I did start Goosecasting this event, which you can see if you could go to goosecast.com/channel/DNewTech, but unfortunately I don't have the internet for this demonstration. Scalability is everything, basically, that we've been working on up to this point. Our website can handle tens of thousands of simultaneous users to your website. And the cool thing about this is your website doesn't get hit with a tremendous amount of traffic. Your website just gets hit with however many people come to it. But then as far as maintaining the connections for all of those people at the same time, we manage that. So really, as far as value, what we're providing is the network of computers and software that can handle that kind of load. And that's about it. We'll be ready in about 30 days for paying customers. And I'm sorry I don't have a demonstration, but if you can visit that DNewTech channel, you would see so far what's been happening at the DNewTech. Any questions? Okay. Oh, there are a few. Okay. In the very back, under the pink building.
So your website is up now, and is this avatar guy you on the screen?
That is not me. Okay. But the website is up.
I thought maybe you got LASIK.
Yeah. Yes, you.
Will this work in some of the, thanks. Will this work in some of the common blog platforms, so you can do live blogging to your blog as well?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Anywhere you can put HTML, right, you can include one of these live casts. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. Yes, in the middle there.
You know, I've seen this service a lot. Like, for example, CNET will have live blogging when it's the latest Apple thing, or CS or whatever.
Yeah.
And so you're offering that ability to anyone with a website that can post HTML on their website. Are there no other services out there that do this already? And if there are, how do you differ from them?
So there's one service that's probably the most popular, and how we differ from them is that ours is just much simpler and much more streamlined. And that's it. And then also they seem to be doing okay, but there are several limiting factors in their service. So that's it. Yes, in the very back.
Yeah. What's your revenue model? How do you make money at this?
So, for example, we would approach just about any newspaper, any commercial blog, or basically any company that has real-time information that they want to communicate to a large number of people while it's happening, and they would be good good potential customers for us, and then we would simply charge them a monthly fee based on just how popular they are, and that's it. It'll be a pretty reasonable fee, so that won't be the problem. But yeah, the customer base, the potential customer base is quite large. In the very back.
Yes. You mentioned that you all are going to begin offering like branded pages or sponsored pages. So Twitter, which you mentioned before, which doesn't offer real time and has the character limitations, is going to start monetizing branded pages for large brands such as Nike, Coca-Cola, Pepsi. Are you going to look to go after that market and offer them an opportunity? Say if Nike is at the All-Star game in Orlando in a couple weeks, where they can live tweet events going on around their brand through your platform?
Yes, absolutely. And so I can't show you at this point, but if our website is live, and our website does host all of the channels on it. So there will also be opportunities for companies like that to have branded pages at our website, which we imagine will be a popular meeting place for a lot of people who may not have websites but still want to have a live blog. Two comments that I forgot to mention earlier. One limiting factor of Twitter also is that the images that you post to Twitter aren't embedded real time into the stream, and so that makes it not practical for something like this. And then the final thing is, ideally, or in a lot of cases, the ideal stream would be video, but that just happens to be very heavyweight still for a lot of people. So this is a much more portable and easy to use thing, especially for mobile phones and stuff like that. One more question in the back?
Yeah, have you thought about having a free version?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we will only be charging for like more popular. But it'll be free up until a certain number of simultaneous users.
I mean, could you have a free version with advertisements and then possibly a premium version?
We're not following that path at this point. We're just going with sort of the freemium model that we're going with is just number of simultaneous connections.
Last question.
How'd you come up with the name Goosecast?
This project actually started at the Ann Arbor Hackathon just a couple months ago. And so it was really late, and my first company's name is Penguin. And so I wanted to stick with the bird theme. That's it.
Some with over 200 people, and something unique, his original Flip Frog idea originated in 2005, but it wasn't actually attempted until 2011. So it sounds like it took a long time for the idea to rise. So go ahead, why don't you go ahead and get started then.
All right, you guys hear me? Cool. All right, so as you mentioned, my name is Anthony Montalbano, co-founder of FlipFrog.com, which we are a new social event app that allows you to discover events through shared calendars, and I realize I don't have a clicker. Okay. So as I mentioned, we are a new event discovery tool. So real quick, I want to give a quick background on the two of us, which is myself, Anthony, and Brian up here. I'm a computer science graduate. I host multiple events a year, which includes WordCamp Detroit here in Detroit. And I also have an extensive e-commerce background. Brian up here, he graduated with a computer engineering degree. He is a lead developer for Simple JavaScript, which is a framework that FlipFrog is built on, and he also has an extensive e-commerce background. So before I explain what FlipFrog is, I want to explain a little bit about the problems that we kind of came up with. And what we realized was there's a lot of different calendars and scheduling tools out there that we're using. We have Google Calendar, which I use all the time, Outlook from time to time, or at least I did in the corporate space. and Meetup is another one I use. So it happens to be that my life, my schedule is in so many different services, and they're just kind of scattered everywhere. And we really thought that this can be a problem, especially when it comes to planning things in the future. So the other thing that we also realized that when it comes to planning things in the future is trying to find out what is going to fit in your schedule. Not only is it in multiple services, but trying to just see things visually is not necessarily the easiest. And especially if you're going to invite 3 or 4 friends to do something and then bring in their schedules in, it just gets even more complicated. So that was another thing that we saw as a problem. The third problem that we also we noticed was there's a lot of great media out there on Facebook, on YouTube, all around events, but all of these tools are all around the people. For instance, if you think of Facebook, and if you went to a wedding and say 5 of your family members were there, and they all took photos, they all upload, they create their own albums, and then for you as someone who was to consume the content, you have to actually go find all of those albums, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. So what we wanted to do is try to solve that, and actually, this is where Flipfrog came from. So here's our solution. What we did was we didn't take your standard calendar, which is that grid format, and we kind of just laid it out real simply onto different timelines. So if you could think of all of your different services on separate timelines, we can lay them side by side, and then we can see where all of your events are. So that was the first thing we did. By doing this, now that we have this visual layout, you can see where you have these openings in time to plot things. So if you were to add, say, 3 or 4 of your friends again on the Flipfrog, you can see their schedules, you can see the time gaps, and you can plot out what you want to do. And then finally, we also wanted to do the social content. We wanted to focus on events and not people. That was the big thing. So what I'm going to do now is give you a quick walkthrough demo. The best way to do this is through screenshots. This is what Flipfrog looks like. You can see I have a couple different lines here. There's not much going on in my life yet with Flipfrog, which we're kind of doing. But one of the things I want to do is actually browse. So what I'm doing here is browsing for different music artists, and I'm looking for their concerts. We don't have much data in the system yet, but for this demo, we have a lot of music. So you can see I'm looking at a few different artists here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add Skrillex, and you can see now I have a new line for the Skrillex concert tour. From here, I could just easily kind of scroll left and right, and you can see the different events. You can see the different tour dates for Skrillex. I'm going to take it, I can just drag it onto one of my lines, and then it's all of a sudden into my calendar. For more details, I can just click on the event and you can get more details like this. We have a bunch of different information that we're looking to pull together per event, but this is what our current demo looks like right now. So one of the next questions is how do we monetize this thing? And we've looked at multiple different ways that we think this would be really helpful. And the first one that we really thought about was we're going to really focus on the affiliate sales, and in 2 different aspects. The first one is in ticket sales. So if we're helping promote different concerts or movies or trying local events that have ticket sales, we can send them over through a link if they're using Flipfrog to discover new events, and then we would get different commission off those different tickets. The next way was to merchandise different products. So if there's an album release or a Blu-ray that's coming out, if we can put those on different timelines so that if you're trying to discover new movies, you can see those, and then Amazon.com is like one of the first affiliates that we're working with. So being able to just link to those products, we would get commission off of that as well. The second thing that we're focusing on is the venue and event organizers have premium content. So we're offering premium listings and premium analytics packages for those. Finally, we are looking for feedback, seeking funding, and we're looking for more development to make this thing happen. So that's kind of where we are right now, and I'd like to open up to questions.
I have 2 questions.
Sure.
First of all, I think it's an awesome concept. So,
Thank you.
how does it extend into mobile, and is it automatically going to work on multiple platforms? And then from a retail perspective, have you looked into integrating it with major retailers? So like Macy's just launched a big SMS thing so that you can get codes and it tells you like the day of a sale and things like that now. It's just recently launched. How could you integrate in with major retailers and potentially get spiff from their e-commerce sales?
Okay, I'll answer the first question about mobile. The first thing that we have done in terms of mobile is it's a website, as you've noticed, The website actually is responsive to your mobile devices. It works really nice for touchscreens, so we've been really optimizing for like the iPad. Because of the whole swipe gestures, we're very focused on swipe gestures. The buttons are big, easy to click, all of those type of things. So that's one of the things that we're focusing on. We haven't talked about doing an iPhone app yet. It's been slightly discussed, but we haven't actually gone that route yet. So that's kind of where our mobile space is right now. In terms of the higher retailer things, we have discussed a little bit of doing things such as Groupon or like Woot.com has the daily deals and how we'd be able to integrate those. We haven't done any partnerships yet, but it's definitely something we want to move in down the road.
Yeah, are you seeking anything right now? Are you seeking funding or talent or anything like that?
Yeah, so I think the last slide I kind of went through fast because my time was coming up. We are definitely seeking, so the first thing that we're seeking is we're looking for feedback because we're about into our 4th month since we've actually started building it. I know we originally came up with it many years ago, but it actually wasn't started till now. So we're about 4 months in, and we're finally, as of like this week, we're going to kind of open it to the public to start using and playing around with and seeing what they think about it. So that's the first thing we're looking for. We're definitely seeking for funding because some of the things that we do want to do is expand our team, and then we also want to look at some premium content that we can bring into the system. And then also development, which kind of the funding and development are kind of go hand in hand. So we're definitely on both aspects. More questions? Cool.
Okay. Okay, and then our last speaker for this evening will be Angela. While we're switching screens, Angela helped pay her way through school as a computer operator in the early 80s when she was studying at the university level in sacred in art music. Sounds pretty cool to me. Unfortunately, she was seduced by the dark side, bills went out, and she's been involved with IT ever since. She's just now getting back into harmony between her left brain and her right brain. In her business, mirroring her personal life as a return to her past successes about barter. All right, take it away.
All right, barter spent is cash saved. I am basically here with support services. I'm here to support what you were trying to do, raising money, what businesses that are currently in operation need. We all need more money, we all need more cash flow, and we cannot depend on necessarily funding all of the time. So, oh, that's fine. We are a trade exchange that's based in Southeast Michigan. I'm from Ferndale. And we are helping organizations, just as I said, working to use barter dollars instead of spending their cash. What this does, every dollar that you spend in barter saves you $90 in cash, or I'm sorry, 90 cents in cash. So now what you've got is 90 cents that you would not have had otherwise. You still buy the goods and services that you need, but you've got 90 cents more than you would. Plus the goods and services are there. Oh, that's not good. All right, 50% of all global transactions are exchanges, not cash. So if you look at the entire world and you take it into consideration, our history is barter. We are not a cash society. We are now, but historically we are not, nor are we globally. 66% of the Fortune 500 companies also use barter on a regular basis. That includes General Motors, IBM, Chrysler, and at the bottom, in all the squiggly, we've got a picture of the Pilgrims, or the Dutch coming in and buying Manhattan Island on barter, and Donald Trump over there, he builds now on Manhattan Island on barter. That's horrible. All right, let's draw a picture of how this works. Basically, I put up here a gift manufacturer, a publication house, radio station, and a hotel. Any one of these might be able to work a transaction where they swap goods or services. However, with a barter exchange in the middle, you get, first of all, an equal exchange. When the gift manufacturer and the publication house do an exchange, maybe one of them feels a little bit like they were, on the short end of the stick. With the exchange, what you do, the gift manufacturer sells their goods or service for the value that it has in cash. The publication house buys those services for the value that it had in cash.
Now, everybody is happy because we've got these transactions that are happening, nobody's left out in the cold. Actually, the gentleman that cut my hair gave me that one. He has a story, but he tried a barter transaction with a masseuse. He cut her hair. She came back, did one massage. She came back. She came back. She came back. He said she came back 5 times my haircuts in exchange for one barter. So that was interesting. Basically, a repeat here. We're selling off. If you have excess or discontinued equipment, if you have production lines or product lines, say you've transitioned from one model year into another with your stock, you can sell those at full retail. We create new business opportunities. And another one that's really interesting is this, the reduction of transactional risk. One thing that happens in business, as soon as you start using credit cards, checks, or anything, you run a risk of maybe that transaction not going through successfully. With barter, that doesn't happen. It all happens in the exchange, and we manage that for you. Why us? One thing that we do differently is we offer financial programs to support entrepreneurs and new startup businesses. We have lines of credit that are 0 interest. We have lines of credit that are a little interest, and that is an upfront fee, and you do not need to be hit again. We have dedicated broker-based trading. So what that does, and they are paid based on what they help you trade. They do not get paid if they don't help you. So that works out very well. We have a local exchange, which is me, part of a national exchange, and even an international exchange. Sorry. We have exchanges in, let's see, we have one in Israel, we have one in Jamaica, we have one in Brazil. And we also have security protection, and at the end of the year, this is one myth I really want to dispel. I run into this time and again, people saying that barter is a tax-free environment. It is not. You pay taxes on barter just like you do when it's a cash transaction. And finally, we are uniquely structured to bring in organizations and charities. Who am I? I am a 30-year IT veteran, and I spent almost 25 of those years in the automotive industry at all different levels. My main focus was, believe it or not, shop floor systems. I was a music major, and I do play the pencils on the desk. I'm a former introvert, believe it or not. I used to fear talking to people. Now I go into crowds, and I love it. I mean, when I interact with individuals, it's a great experience. It really is. And I discovered that the concept of a barter exchange, I never went back. I'm done. I tried.
Finish the slide.
Okay. This is what I need. I need clients, massive clients. That is the pain point for an exchange. I need you to be able to trade with you and you and you. Having 10 clients in the exchange does very little. No one wants to sign up for something like that. So to get that, I need network marketers, and I need partners that are willing to come in with me, build up an exchange based on their business, and let it grow.
Okay, questions?
What scale does a business or the business's transactions need to be before this makes sense? Before the overhead that this adds makes sense.
We do have a setup fee that is $250, and that gets you set up on our site, that gets you a YouTube video, that gets you all kinds of wonderful things. So you want to take that into consideration. We have a $10 a month charge, and we have a 10% cash transaction fee. So those are pretty standard. Ours are a little lower than the industry norm, but what you need to do is consider over the period of a year, our goal is to have you trading about $500 a month. So you'll more than make that up in the first month.
What does a 10% mean?
10% is, for example, let's say you bought $1,000 on the exchange. We get $100 cash.
As a fee?
As a fee.
Okay.
But that's, again, that's a normal standard barter policy. And the other thing, we only charge the buyer. We don't charge the buyer and the seller. A lot of exchanges do that. No. You were first.
So I'm looking at the website, and I see that there's a number of things out there now. So for as long as the site's been up and this barter exchange has been active, what have been the most successful categories?
we also
So I like the idea of really, I think the sharing economy is becoming more prominent, or maybe a second wave, as you mentioned earlier, really getting us back to how we exchange goods and services before. But one of the issues in consumer sharing has been trust, the concept of that to actually scale and bring in the number of individuals to make, collaborative consumption-driven sites work well. Do you find or barter exchanges between businesses that trust is still an issue? And if so, what do you have built into the site or into your business model to mitigate that, to ensure that you are able to scale and bring in those massive loads of customers?
Yes, it is. That's very much a problem still for any of the exchanges, and part of that is because of bad policies by prior exchanges. You have to, part of what we do is we follow the IRS regulations, and that is that you have to charge retail value. You can't overcharge. And we also have policies that everyone signs in their membership terms and agreements that they will be kicked out and they'll lose their money if they violate our policies and they're found to have been in those sorts of circumstances. So we do try to work with them and see what the problem was. If you didn't show up for a job because you had a car accident, that's an understandable thing. But if you didn't show up for a job because you found somebody else that's going to pay you cash, that's a problem.
On that same point, in a lot of cases, issues like advertising is discounted. Space, you talked about a marketer. In advertising, space and time are often discounted depending on availability. How do you assign actual dollar value when so many products are in fact discounted, or a discontinued product that is no longer live would be discounted too? Do you take the original retail value or do you take the discounted value?
My belief is they're supposed to take the original retail value.
So even if it's a year old, you're taking the original value even though a year has expired and that product is in essence old?
You should take the retail value that you would sell it for today. Let's say it that way. So maybe that's reverse of what I just said, but whatever that product is going to go for in retail today, and that doesn't mean clearance, that doesn't mean market down, whatever that product would go for today, that's what you'd want to try to sell it for on the exchange.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Well, that ends our formal program. We always try and make sure that there are no conflicts come Monday or Tuesday for our Wednesday event. We did have one, so that person will show up in March. Before we look and see if there are any leftovers left, which I kind of doubt, are there any calendar items? While people are thinking, next month's DNewTech is March.
Yeah, March 7th.
7th. It will be in Ann Arbor. We're on a road trip. So, Tom, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, basically, we're going to be doing it at Tech Brewery. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Tech Brewery. It's a home where Doug Sung, who's the organizer of DNewTech, and it's basically an incubator, and he's kind of came up with all these startups that are part of this Tech Brewery. So we decided to go out there. He's going to be our presenter. He's done a lot of things out in the Ann Arbor. He's got a lot of startup experiences, basically built companies and sold them. So we're going to be joining with also Grow Detroit. So that's another group that we'll be participating with. So besides us, Grow Detroit and DNewTech, come out there and check it out. It's going to be a great time. And at least if you're most of those software companies or SaaS model businesses, this is a great opportunity for you to see what's real like when the software are being developed and startups are being created. And that will be at 6 p.m. same time. 6 p.m. first Wednesday of the month, which is March 7th.
And we could have about 150 people there, so definitely make sure you sign up as soon as you can. Anybody else with any calendar items they want to talk about before we break? Okay, I think that does us. Thank you very much for attending, folks, and we'll see you next month. Good night. Sorry, product recall, one more.
Wait, one more. Detroit Startup Weekend. You guys, I think some of these guys are already been in the Startup Weekend. So there's one coming up on February 17th. Again, it's a weekend event. For those who want to come up, work as a team, it's just a great way to just, within 3 days you can come up from a creation to something developed. It's a great way to meet other people and networking, but just basically working with a bunch of creative people. So it's on our website. Friday, February 17th. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You're just going to spend the night.